week 9. I'm gonna be real honest. It's weird to think that this is week 9. I'm uh, I'm actually feeling pretty good. I got some sleep over the weekend. Some much needed sleep over the weekend. Um, and I don't know. I just feel like there are some things starting to fall into place for me. A lot of things that like had been a long time coming have kind of started to fall into place. So I'm probably still gonna have some ups and downs in the coming months. Um, but I'm feeling pretty good right now. I'm feeling encouraged. Starting off Monday strong, I did my 7 sets of 5 for Renegade Rose. So, just to kind of reiterate, goals for May are to be able to do um, 10 sets of 7 Renegade Rose by the end of the month. Um, so I'm at 7 sets of 5 right now. So I've got a bit of a jump, but I personally think I can do it. Sorry, I have something stuck in my teeth. That's embarrassing. I just ate, so I'm sorry. So I'm at 7 sets of 5. Um, so it's a bit of a jump. It's going to be kind of hard to get to the 10 sets of 7, but I am determined to get there. So, and then be 225 or less by the end of May. Um, because I am not eating paleo right now, my weight has kind of bumped up again. It went up to 230 again, which I'm frustrated with, but um, I know that the reason for it is because I'm eating more carbs now. I'm definitely one of those where, like, if I eat carbs, I just, like, retain so much weight. Because, and the reason why I know this is anytime that I have, like, cut, like, processed carbs for my diet, so, like, pasta, bread, that sort of thing. So, like, when I stop eating pasta, when I stop eating bread, I instantly drop a, a couple of pounds. Like, literally within a day or two, I drop a couple of pounds. Um, so I meal prepped some stuff this week, for the first couple of days that does have pasta in it. But I know I've kind of like talked about, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. My brain is kind of going everywhere right now. Um, I know I recently talked about continuing to do paleo after Lent. Um, and I've decided that I'm going to do that. I kind of waffled on it. I kind of went back and forth on it. But now that I've seen like the difference and like have really had time to think about how my body feels, um like with between the two, between like when I am paleo and when I'm not, um I think I'm going to jump back on being paleo, but I think I'm going to do the 80/20 rule, which means that like about 1 day a week, roughly 4 to 5 days a month, um, I can just eat whatever. But the rest of the time, I would be doing paleo. So, and at least in my mind, the idea would be that I would try and have my paleo diet for the most part. And then when I have times when I'm like eating out with friends, or if I'm in situations where like there aren't paleo options for me, I'm allowed that leeway. Um, but yeah, so I think once I get through the food that I have meal prepped right now, which will probably be Wednesday potentially, I'm gonna jump back into doing paleo, which means that I will probably drop back down to 227 pretty quickly after that. And who knows, maybe I'll drop down to 225 even quicker. I just know that, like, I know that I feel better when I don't put as much junk in my body. I know that there's like, how do I want to say this? There's like this mentality. It feels like two ends of the spectrum sometimes, and I know I've kind of talked about the two ends of the spectrum in regards to different things, but it feels like there are kind of two ends of the spectrum when I look online. And it's the people who are just like, if you work out hard enough, it doesn't matter what you eat. You should just be able to eat whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. And then there's the other side of just like, you should never eat anything bad ever, you terrible human being. It's like, where do we find the balance, guys? Where do we find the middle ground? And honestly, a few years back, when I first, okay, backing up. Several years ago, I was at 240 and change. I don't know what the exact like point whatever poundage, but I was at 240, and I literally started crying because that was the heaviest I had ever been. And I was super uncomfortable in my body, and I felt terrible, and all that kind of stuff. And I asked one of my friends if she would help me get healthy, because at the time she was pursuing to be a certified nutritionist. She has that certification, or she got that certification. I don't know if she's kept it up. I don't know if that's something that you need to renew. But we used to meet together. I forget if it was every week or every other week. And I would like weigh myself. We'd go over my goals. We'd talk about like what I ate. We'd talk about like the workout that I did. And I dropped down into the 220s, like the real low 220s. I think I got down to like 222 or 223, which like is no joke. And honestly, the reason that I'm not heavier now, I think, is largely because of her. Because like she got me down, she effectively got me down 15 plus pounds, almost 20 pounds, pretty quickly. And one of the things that she said that like really, really helped me, and I'm sure people who like study nutrition or are nutritionists, they hear this all the time. So I'm sure they're like, yeah, duh. But to me, it was like really groundbreaking. She was like, food has no moral value. It is not good or bad. It's, and it was like, let's look at your macros, let's look at like your calories, and let's adjust accordingly because of that, like how to do that. So at the time I wasn't following like paleo, I wasn't following specific like meal plans of like you can't eat this, you can't eat that. It was literally like, here are the macros you should be eating in a day. As long as you get these and try to stay within the bounds of these, whatever you eat within those bounds is okay. And obviously, like, I'm heavily simplifying what she's saying because we had like a whole conversation about it, but I'm like heavily paraphrasing it. And that really shifted my perspective for that time, and like really, really helped me, because it took away a lot of the guilt in those moments. I've since kind of backslidden on that. And I still get those times when like I feel really guilty when I eat foods I'm not supposed to have, or like bad foods, heavy quotations. Because I still try to remind myself that like food itself has no moral quality to it. I've talked about Scotty K Fitness here before, but like he has this phrase where he says guilt is not an ingredient. um, which, yeah. And I'm just trying to like, I'm trying to remember that for myself, but also in the same breath, I notice that I feel better when I don't have a lot of certain foods. Now, obviously, like, I love carbs. I love pasta. I love bread. I have a sweet tooth, so I really love pies and ice cream, and cake and pudding and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't be the weight that I am if I didn't love those things. Um, but there is something to be said for how it makes your body feel and how refined sugars and processed carbohydrates feel in your body. And I noticed that, and I'm thinking about it now because I'm noticing it this week because I made the like pasta dish as my like meal prep, and it was largely because the pasta was really cheap, and I just paid rent, so I was just like, ooh, budgeting time. Um, but I am I get more tired a lot easier. I just get a lot more tired, a lot more easily, um, and I feel a lot more sluggish. I definitely feel more bloated. And so it's one of those things that like I want to be able to have it sometimes, because it is something that I enjoy and I don't want to just like I don't want to be miserable. Like I don't want to be like I'm not allowed to have the things that I enjoy in my life. But I know that having an excess of that or having it too often makes me feel bad. Like just physically makes me feel bad. Not to mention the mental capacity. So it's definitely one of those things. I I think being paleo, like primarily, is gonna be better just in like how I feel in general. Um, because I'm not saying like I'm never allowed these things if I'm going by like an 80-20 rule. It's more of the like try to keep within these guidelines most of the time, and then the other 20%, yeah, do whatever. Because food has no more moral value. So you're not a bad person if you eat bad foods, you know? I don't know if any of this is making sense. I'm kind of rambling, but it's just like on my mind. It's been kind of like sitting in my head here. But yeah, but the workouts are going really good. I did, like I said, I did my 7 sets of 5. Um, Next week, I'm gonna try and push it up to 9 sets of 5. It's gonna be tough. I'm not gonna lie, because I was struggling today. So, I think what I might do later in the week, um, is try and do Renegade Rose again and try and get the 8 sets of 5 so that next week, Monday, I can push a little harder and do the 9 sets of 5. We'll see. Because I want to like try and incrementally bump it up, but I also don't want to push myself so hard that I lose motivation, if that makes sense. Like, I don't want to push myself so hard that I'm like, oh god, I'm so sore, I'm never going to do this again. Because the point is to create a positive correlation between working out, and just like living a healthy life. Like, um, I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, I hate working out, blah, blah, blah. And it's simply because, like, it's hard. But the thing is, like, working out doesn't, you don't have to, like, hate yourself working out. Um, and I mean, like, sometimes I feel like people lose motivation really fast if they're like me because they push themselves really, really hard. Um, whew, sorry. Um, but it's like they push themselves really, really hard, and then they're like so sore or so exhausted, or it was such a miserable time for them that they never want to work out again. Because in their mind, all they can think is like, oh, that sucked so much. Whereas, like, I enjoy a challenge. I'm kind of a competitive person, so I enjoy having a challenge and like having goals and being like, I'm gonna crush that because I get the happy chemical when I can meet goals. but I don't want to overdo it to the point that I um, get that negative response. You know, I don't want to be like, ooh, I'm gonna do, 10 sets of 5 next week, even though I'm at 7 sets of 5 right now. So, and then I can't hit it, and then I feel like garbage. Or I don't want to be like, yeah, I'm gonna get my 10 sets of 5, and then I do it, and I'm so sore the next day that I like cannot function. Um, so yeah, trying to find that middle ground, trying to find a way that I can like push myself to achieve my goals but not overdo it. Trying to find the middle ground of um, eating healthier, trying to remove some of those things from my diet that make me feel more sluggish, make me feel tired, make me feel just physically not as great while still not tipping over into the these are bad foods mentality. So, lots of stuff going on. A lot of it feels like a balancing act, but overall, right now, I'm actually feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty encouraged. I'm feeling pretty good about things. I feel like I'm kind of cresting the hill again. Um, just mentally, I was not in a super great place for a little bit, but I feel like I'm kind of going back up again. And I'm feeling pretty good about that. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Um, I hope y'all are having a good Monday. I hope things are starting out pretty well for you. Um, yeah. I know on Friday I said to do something positive for somebody. Um, and I don't know. I like that. Try and do something positive this week for somebody. Try and like put something positive out there. Go to a YouTuber and leave a like a small YouTuber or even your favorite YouTuber and leave a good like a positive comment on their channel. Say something nice to a stranger in public. Encourage a coworker. Give somebody a compliment. Tip your waitress if you're in America and that's a thing, or if you're in like an area where tipping is expected, tip your freaking waitress. Yeah. So, just try and put a little positivity out there. I think it'll do a lot of good. All right. I am going to head out cuz I need to shower and go to bed. So, I love you guys. Stay hydrated and take care of yourself. Bye.